Yes.
Good evening, dear participants. Welcome. So, hope you all are fine and doing great. Also, we hope you will enjoy learning all these days. So, each day session will start at 7 p.m. and a link will be activated 15 minutes prior to the session. Also, kindly note that same link will work for all the meetings. We will not share the meeting link again and again. This link will work for all the meetings. Also, we will share the video recording of each session immediately after the session along with the relevant material and script. Also, there is a gentle request, kindly do not unmute yourself unnecessary. It will degrade the quality of the recording because we are going to share this video recording with all the participants. Also, do not flood the chat box with unnecessary welcome messages like hi, hello. We will also share this chat box history along with the participants. So now I welcome today's speaker, Honorable Dr. Salman Sadullah Usmani, who is currently working as a postdoctoral research fellow at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, New York, United States. Dr. Usmani earned his master degree from prestigious Aligarh Muslim University, India, then followed by a doctoral degree from Institute of Microbial Technology, Chandigarh. His areas of research include machine learning, database management, next generation sequencing, and immunoinformatics. He has an outstanding track record of scientific publication, and he is also editor of various scientific journals. We welcome Dr. Salman Sadullah Usmani for preface to the training and opening session of this workshop, that is Introduction to the Linux Environment. Now I hand over session to Dr. Usmani for today's presentation. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for the kind introduction, Praveen. I hope I'm audible to everyone. My voice is all clear to everyone.
Yes, Dr. Salman, you are pretty audible.
That's great. So welcome to all of you, and it's the first session. So I have split this session into two parts. One part where I will talk about a little bit, not more than 10 to 15 minutes, about this institute, about this organization, what we do. I mean, how this has been formed and all the aspects of that. Then I'll talk about what is Linux, a little bit of introduction of the Linux, what is Linux environment, what you need, what you require. And then after that, most probably the last half session will be how you must have a Linux machine or whatever Linux operating system onto your personal system, depending upon whatever you have. So all those guys who, if they have the prior window version, I'll give a demonstrator how to have a Linux into your system if you have Windows 10 or something. So I mean, we'll see how to install it. And today, after today's session, you all have this Linux operating system into your PCs. So that's all the today's planning is. So first, let me share my PPT. Yeah. So I hope it's visible, and let me plug in my system. It's that is just remember that I'm gonna plug in. Now we're all set to go. Okay, I hope it's visible to everyone.
Sir, you are perfectly audible and perfectly visible. So some are saying in the chat box that you are not audible. You are perfectly audible and perfectly visible. Your slide is visible.
Okay, that's great. So this is the first session. As I said that first I'll talk about little bit 5 to 10 minutes about the preface of the workshop. Then we'll move to introduction to the Linux environment. And after each part, as I said that my presentation is split into three parts. So after each part, I'll take the questions. Most probably, if you have any relevant questions, just type into your chat box. And if there are any, we always have beginners, advanced level, and intermediate participant. If there are advanced level participant, it's encouraged to answer if there is relevant chat box questions. You can answer them. Then I'll take the questions, and after the session, we will have a question answer session, not in between the session, because it disrupts other participants. That's how it's going to work. Okay. So as you know, this Decode Life, this is a bioinformatic enterprises, and it has been registered with MSME Government of India. And the idea behind this enterprise is that it has been started by Praveen, and the idea behind that is that there is a gap. There is a gap between computer science domain as well as biological domain, or you could say those guys who are working with the real live data and those who are perfectly academicians. So there is a gap. So we just wanted to fill this gap. So we wanna develop a network or you could say we wanna develop a platform where you will get adequate training, and it's a very cheap, effective training. And obviously when the network will grow, we all will grow. So that's the purpose of forming this enterprises. And as I said, that it has been founded in June 2020, and it has been registered with MSME Government of India. So we always believe in the diversity. We always, whatever the workshop we are providing, we try to cover it from the basic to the advanced,
So,
because
Dr. Salman, sorry to interrupt you. Your voice is not uh, uh, perfectly audible. It's audible, but not perfectly audible. So kindly,
okay, maybe I'm speaking fast. Is it fine now?
yeah.
Okay. So we always, before each workshop, we always do some analysis. How many are actually beginner level participant if we are having the participant from the undergrads, postgrads, or master of PhD. So we always do some analysis before the workshop, and most of the time we find that we have many undergrads participant, or you could say those who have even they are if they are the PhD, they have marked themselves as a beginner in the field of bioinformatics. So we always try to cover the topic of the workshop from very basic, from scratch, I'll say, to the advanced level. So that's how we work, because we always do the prior analysis of all the participants. And till now we have organized 21 workshops. Sometimes we also give some free training for 1 or 2 days, or even a month training have been given freely. And sometimes we have to run the organization, so a little bit of uh, paid workshop, I mean a little bit of amount is also chargeable. So till now we have organized 21 workshop. More than 6,000 participants had been participated in the paid workshop, and more than 7,000 received free training. And we have a team of experts. We are a very diverse team, so everyone who is working in that particular domain for more than 5 to 6 years are only the speaker of this organization. So as I said that we believe in networking, so we always have global level participation. We always have the speakers as well as participants from different corners of the world. And I believe it's the best affordable content we provide. And we always believe in the open contribution. So whatever slides have been taught here, whatever the video recording, whatever the content you will see, it will be distributed to all of you. So that's how we run. And this is a little bit about our social media outreach. So this is the website domain. It get a lot of hit per month. And whenever we launch some workshop, those weeks a lot of hit actually hits. And on the Twitter, we have more than 1,500 followers. Insta 8,000. And the LinkedIn, that's here we have more than 10,800 network. And on the Facebook we have 1,800 plus network. So that's our social media outreach. It's growing phenomenally for past 3 to 4 months. And besides this, we have also started some services and solutions. So if you are working in the field of drug discovery and development, or you want to do some IT analytics, like if you want to design some peptide for stabilization of biologic, or you want to, develop machine learning models into drug discovery. So we provide some services to that. If you have these kind of project, and if you want some help or you want to outsource your project, we also provide these services. And beside this, we also provide metagenomics and metatranscriptomics service as well as NGS data analysis. So all this has been, uh, uh, you could outsource it, or you could take a little bit of help, whatever you want. You have to, you know, contact the organizers or the team of Decode Live. So now we are coming to this workshop preface. So it's in the plant genomics. So the schedule is something covered by 4 modules. So in the first, you will, I mean, it's always necessary to learn the core skills of the bioinformatics, and the core skill we always divide that you must know the Linux environment and some programming language. At least one programming language you should know. So because R is good enough to cover this genomic studies, so we have taken as this core skill as a Linux, and then one programming language, so R we have considered in for this workshop. And then the second module is from where you will get the data for whatever the plant omic studies you want to do. So the second module is getting the data, and third module is doing transcriptomic or omic analysis. Then fourth module is detail mapping. This is how we have divided the schedule, and this must be the what you say schedule, and you must have got it, and it's also available on the um, website. So if there will be any change, you will be informed in the whatever mean by WhatsApp group or some other information, and it's also available on uh, website. So that's all. And what we promise to deliver, that whatever you will talk, it will be, you will get a pure 160 to 90 minutes of knowledgeable session. Session will be compact, interactive. After each session, you will get the time to interact with the speaker, and we promise you to cover from the basic to advanced bioinformatics. Then, as I said, we believe in the global approach. So instructor and participant both are from the different corner of the world. And I always say that it's not only the platform to attend some workshop, it's also a platform to make a meaningful network, So you should interact with us. You should try to, if you have some good project, you could always be in touch with us, and a good networking should be done here. That's what we believe. And what we expect from you is that everyone should be disciplined. There have been some past instances where unnecessary questions, unnecessary chat boxes comment has been done. Please don't do that. If you'll do it, you will be directly removed from the workshop. And you should be eager to learn, and whatever query you have, whether it's a basic query or it's an advanced query, don't hesitate. Just ask to every participant, and we'll try to get back to you. If we exactly know the answer at that time, definitely we'll answer it. But science is nothing. Science is not that everyone know all the answers. If any speaker or any instructor is not knowing that at that time, definitely we'll get back to you. That's our promise.
So,
And this training will be helpful.
Dr. Salman, can you again rejoin the meeting? Your voice is not of perfect quality. It's audible, but not of perfect quality.
Okay, so I should
Uh,
okay,
you,
leave the meeting and rejoin it. Okay,
yeah, yeah,
let me do it.
yeah. Kindly rejoin.
For the fact, it's not the one that, where did I mix it? Where did I see this name? Paper.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what is happening. Usually it doesn't happen with my net connection, but it seems that my Wi-Fi is little bit slow, but not this much that I should
Okay.
have a
Okay.
problem.
Continue, sir.
Yeah. So this training would be helpful if you have your own research project, if you want to add some dimension to your research, if you are willing to expand your knowledge from the basic questions to the advanced level, if you are from a traditional biological field and if you want to switch to the data science or you want to enter to the data science field, this training will be helpful. And definitely, I always emphasize on the point that uh, you should make some networking. I mean, with the networking you always grow, we always grow, and we learn a lot of things. So if you are curious enough, then this training will be helpful. That's all about the organization. And now we are switching to the uh, main content. So there are some voices in the background, so everyone please mute themselves, otherwise we have to forcibly mute everyone.
Dr. Salman, unmute yourself. I have muted all.
Okay, so is it visible now?
Yes, visible.
Okay, so we will proceed like first I'll talk about the operating system, then the virtual machine, then what is Linux text editor, then we'll see some, we'll try to install the Linux environment into your PC, and then most probably by tomorrow we will have some basic commands, some script one-liners, and then in the bash scripting and other things. So all these tomorrow and the next session will be purely hands-on. Even after today's this introductory classes, we will have how to install that, so that will be hands-on. So what is operating system? So operating system is any software which communicate between user as well as between user and hardware. So whatever programs we run, it runs through the operating system. That's the definition of the operating system. So in other word, in a layman word, we could say that without an operating system, your PC, your laptop is useless. It's just a black box, nothing else. So operating system is the main software which is responsible for whatever the things, whatever the program you are running. So the main features or features of a good operating system is that it should be easily schedule whatever the task you are giving. It must handle the memory effectively, and it should provide a network communication as well as users and data security is the most critical or the most important point of a good operating system. So these are the features of the operating system. And if we divide it, there are generally three kind of operating system exist. One is Linux. It's an open source, around 2 to 3% through the overall users are existing for the Linux. Then there is the Apple proprietary, which is a Mac operating system. Around 13%, 13 to 14% are the Mac operating system user. And then Windows, that's a proprietary of Microsoft. Around 83% uses that. So this is about the operating system, and it doesn't mean that in a one machine or one PC or laptop you cannot have more than one operating system. Definitely you could have more than one operating system. There have been a way to do that, and we'll do it today. So one way is that you install some virtual machine onto your operating system, and then within that virtual machine you install some different OS than your the host one or the main one. And because it has been need of the time. So 3 to 4 years ago in 2017, Windows has updated it, and it has given the you know mm, uh, options to have two operating system into one system. So this is about the operating system. And as I said in the last slide, a word virtual machine. So what is virtual machine? So it's whatever in the text in the whatever the word is coming into the computer science field. Mostly they all are the software. So virtual machine itself is a software, and what is that? What does it? The role of this virtual machine is that you have some software, so that will help you to execute whatever you want, like a physical machine. So if I make it more easy in words, that suppose that you have your laptop into your hands, that is your physical machine, or you could say that is your physical host machine. And physical, if I'm saying the physical, that means you could see it, you could touch it with your eyes, with your hands, you could see and touch. So that's your physical host machine. But onto that machine you install some software that is purely, you could say, uh, uh, algorithm. So you cannot touch it, you cannot touch it, but definitely you could see the icon of that machine. So that will act as a guest machine. So now you have a host machine, your laptop, and onto that you install a guest machine, which is purely a software implementation. So you could see that, but you cannot touch it. So that is, that software implementation is actually the virtual machine. So now you have a, guest machine into onto your host machine, and that guest machine that definitely share whatever the hardware resources you have for your host machine. I mean to say whatever the hardware requirement or whatever the hardware available with your laptop or with your PC, that only that could be shared by the uh, guest machine. So the physical hardware resources are shared by your host machine and as well as by your guest machine. And within that guest machine, you could install as many operating system as you want. It's not just one operating system. You may install more than one operating system into your virtual machine. So that means you have a physical machine. Let's suppose it's your laptop. You have Windows 10 into that. Then you install a virtual machine. Into the virtual machine, you install a prior version of a Windows, maybe Windows XL, Windows XP, Windows 7, or Windows 11, whatever you want. You could install different Linux version like Ubuntu, Kali, whatever you want. So into that virtual machine, you may have more than one operating system depending upon your requirement. So the same physical hardware, same laptop, but you have two different machines. And in the second guest machine, you may have different operating system. So that is all about the virtual machine. And whatever I have said, it's easily understandable by this figure. Here you see this is your non-virtual machine, a simple machine. You have a hardware. So each operating system comes with its own kernel. So kernel is nothing. It's a software implementation that execute the programs. That is the main component of any operating system. So each operating system has its own kernel. So you have in the non-virtual machine, you have a hardware, then you install some OS which comes with its own kernel, and by the virtue of your applications utility program, you process whatever you want. So this is example of a non-virtual machine, but a virtual machine will be something like that. The hardware is common, it has been shared, and then you install some virtual machine manager, and onto that you could have more than, even it's not necessary that you have one virtual machine, you may have multiple virtual machine also. Each virtual machine, on each virtual machine you will install operating system. It doesn't require that each machine has only one OS. You may have two OS on a simple machine. So here I've given an example, like one virtual machine manager has three VMs, and on each VMs you have one operating system, and each operating system comes with its own kernel, and by the virtue of the kernel you process your utility programs like Google Chrome, like iStudio or YouTube, whatever you want, or Zoom, whatever you want. These are the processes you run through on your operating system, and it execute via kernel and then uses your hardware. So this is the example of a virtual machine. Okay, so operating system and virtual machine has been cleared. Now the next point is, what is Linux? Obviously, as I said, that Linux is a operating system. It's an open source Unix-like operating system, and as I said, that each OS has its own kernel. So Linux comes with the Linux kernel, and so the actual, if it's referring to the Linux, is the Unix-like graphical interface. graphical user interface based computer operating system. That's the actual reference of the Linux, and it was developed by Linus Torvald, and it has been released. It's a quite old thing, 30 years almost. September 17, 1991. So he won a name as Freaks, but then they finally decided to agree on to the Linux. That is some historical aspect of Linux. So Linux, if I give a bookish definition, that means it is typically packed in a Linux distribution. I mean, each operating system comes with its distribution when you install it. So the most important component of that OS is the kernel, and then there are some supporting system libraries, some softwares which comes with each operating system. So that will be also distributed, or that will also be installed into your system. So if I redefine this or make it more clear in an easy word, when you install Windows, so most of the time it Windows has its own kernel, and then you get some supporting software, some supporting libraries like MS Office. You get Microsoft Edge, that is your Internet Explorer. You get, and so these are the basic software and supporting software libraries you get with one operating system. The same picture comes with the Linux also. When you install the Linux, you get some supporting systems, some softwares like LibreOffice, its own I think Internet Explorer, these things. But beyond that, you could install multiple software after that also with their basic software. And it doesn't mean that there have been a lot of Linux based distribution like Debian, Fedora, Ubuntu. These are the Linux distribution, Kali Linux, another thing. So these all are almost freely available, but there have been some commercial distribution also, but that is more for a supercomputing facility things. So the best example are Red Hat Enterprise Linux and SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. So these are the commercial distribution. And when I was doing PhD in the Chandigarh, I know that Institute of Microbial Technology Supercomputing Facility has this Red Hat Enterprise Linux. When I moved to Triple IT Delhi, their institute also has this Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and even the US, my institute has this computing facility has this Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So I believe it is more acceptable and mostly available in all the institutional levels. So this Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So it's a commercial distribution for supercomputing facility. And now when we are coming to this Linux architecture, how it will look like. So as I said that first there will be a hardware, whatever the hardware you have. Then when you install some any operating system, it comes with its own kernel. Then there will be shell. So kernel is the core component of OS, and it interacts directly with the hardware. And then you have whatever the utility or the applications you have. So when you run some commands, or when you give any command to your utility or your applications, it execute it. The shell takes the command from the user and execute it from the kernel. So this is how Linux architecture goes on. So you see that on a same machine, if we make many user login, we always do administrator login, guest login, and if we are sharing our laptop with our siblings, we make a different user for them. So you see here a multiple user of a one OS or a one machine is there, and each can use different applications. But okay, he has his own Google Chrome, he has his own Google Chrome, he has his own Google Chrome, and whenever they want to search something, they want to execute any utility. So what happens that their utility program is different, but again the shell, kernel, and the hardware that has been shared on a same architecture. So this is a basic idea about the Linux architecture. Now the next question is, why should we use it? So I exactly don't know the answer. It's freely available, but still why only 2% users are there? I don't know that. But it's free. There is no extra layer of antivirus protection required. It is supported by a big user community. So it's a purely open source. So you will get a lot of code and everything available for this Linux thing. Whatever the codes you want to see, it's available. And a huge list of library and codes are available. It allows multiple users to work on the same machine, and it is mostly used in building secure web servers. So this is about advantages of Linux. And then the next questions comes the main question where we should practice the Linux command. So as I said, there are three kind of operating system of the users: Mac OS, Windows, and the Linux guy. So the beauty of the Mac, so that's my definition. That's not the book's definition. That's my understanding is that Mac has all the assets of Windows as well as assets of Linux also. So it has taken the beauty of Windows also, the graphics and other things, and also the command line power of the Linux also. So it has a hybrid thing. That's my definition. It's a hybrid thing between the Windows and the Linux. So if you are having the Mac OS, you don't have to install the Linux. So it already comes with that. So you could practice Linux command. I'll tell you where. And then if you are having Windows operating system before Windows 10, that means Windows 7, Windows XP, or whatever. So initially it was not available. So you have to install some virtual machine. And one example of the virtual machine is VirtualBox. So inside that VirtualBox, you have to install the Linux and find and open the terminal and practice the commands. So this is for the prior version of Windows. But as I said that from in the beginning of 2010, I mean this decade, last decade. So from so many big platforms, they have talked about this Linux thing, this Unix thing. So as Windows is a Microsoft proprietary, and they are very active in this marketing and all the aspects. So they feel that okay, it's time to give, because a lot of guys are switching to the Linux. So just to make sure that whatever their users, they should stick to them. So they were forced to give a module where you could have a subsystem for Linux into your Windows. So they were forced to do that. They were forced to do that, and they have given this option in 2017 only. So it's a new thing around 4 years. Before the 4 year, you cannot use Linux into the Windows. You have to go through the virtual machine thing. But now it has been talked to on a lot of platforms, so they were forced to do that. Not that what that means. That means if you are having Windows 10 or Windows 11, when I'm saying updated version of Windows 10, that means Windows 11 comes into that. So if you have that, so you don't need to install any virtual machine. So they have given a function, they have given a module where you could use the basics of Linux, not all the utilities of Linux, but mostly the command line interface of the Linux, you could use it. So that's that they have implemented. And what I believe, because I too am a Microsoft user, obviously we have to, whenever we buy the laptop, most of the time it comes with, it is already tied up with their company, and they provide that. So based on to that, you just activate this Windows subsystem for Linux and use it. That's enough. That's enough for you. So we will see how to do that. And yeah, then another word I want to say is text editor. What is text editor? So it's nothing. It's the utility program, or is the program where you edit any text. So it is similar to the Notepad. What comes into the Microsoft, it in the Notepad, into the Unix, the synonym you could say is a text editor. So it's simply a application where you write codes, where you document your file, where you could read your text, and or you want to edit anything. So each operating system comes with their own basic text editor, like Windows comes with the Notepad. Similarly, Linux comes with the basic editor as vim. But as I said, that Linux is a pure open source thing. So a lot of uh, another application, another text editor are freely available with which you could install it. One example is gedit. Most of the guys prefer to do it into the gedit. If you want to do install gedit, you could do it. So it's more easy and advanced thing. So this is about the text editor. If there are any questions related to this introductory part, I'll take it, and then we'll move how to install Ubuntu or Linux on your system. So I'm stopping it here. And if there are any relevant questions in the chat box, first I'll take that. Then maybe 2 to 3 minutes we could discuss it, and then I'll move to demonstrating how to install Linux onto your system. Okay. No, perfect. So by having virtual machine, the process will decrease? No, it's not going to decrease. because you are going to have the machine, I mean virtual machine or your hardware. If you are opening it, if you are not opening it, it's not using your hardware. When you open it and you define it, how much RAM, how much space, how much hardware you are giving it to that, it only uses that one. So if you are not opening your machine, your rest of the hardware is available to your basic machine, and it's not going to decrease the thing. So that's my experience, and it's not going to decrease. Does Ubuntu for Windows work the same as virtual box? Yeah, but in the virtual box you have, if you are installing Linux, definitely you will get all the GUI interface. You will get its own basic softwares, like if you want to use LibreOffice, those things you could use it. But if you are going to install WSL, definitely, because Windows itself has is their MS Office, so you cannot use some libraries. But the command line interface, you could use, you could install any command line software, you could install third-party software, Python, yeah, or and, whatever you want, you can install it. But definitely those basic softwares cannot be installed, and it is not required. It is not required actually, so you cannot do that. One question: does the documents stored on the virtual machine fill the PC memory? No, or it's stored in the cloud. I don't understand what is the document stored on the virtual machine. Virtual machine is some some software only. It's a one software, so it takes very few kbs of your memory only, and into that you define how much space you want to give to another operating system, and then it takes that as into that. If you installed VirtualBox, how to copy files from the VirtualBox to your local computer? There are third-party software that will be critical, that will be little advanced. So yeah, there are third-party software which you could communicate through from your PC to your VirtualBox. One example I remember, WinSCP is one third-party software. So what you have to do, you have to put all the IP of your host machine as well as the guest machine, and you could easily copy paste files. So WinSCP is one of that. You should explore that. But it's beyond the possibility of this workshop that I explained WinSCP. It's beyond the possibility. Please correct me, I misunderstood. It is possible to use Linux in Windows 8, but not advantages compared to Windows 10, since we need to install extra programs to Windows 8. Yes, for the Windows 8 and Windows XL, you cannot directly have this Windows subsystem for Linux. So initially, what people used to do, like we have done in 2014, because I remember that I was having Windows XP software I was having. So if I want to use the Linux, what I have to do, I have to install one virtual machine software. So for that, I have installed VirtualBox. Into the VirtualBox, I have installed this Linux Ubuntu version. But now when I switch to the Windows 10, and luckily I switched into 2018, and at that time only they come up with the Windows subsystem for Linux thing. So where you could, you don't have to install any third software. You just have to give permission to your system. Okay, I'm going to use the subsystem for Linux. It's inbuilt now, so you could use it. So Windows 10, if you have Windows 10, it is more advantageous to use it. I mean, you don't need to install the third-party software. Please explain. Text editor. Text editor is nothing. It's a pure software where you edit your text, just like the Notepad. What is the hardware and kernel? So hardware, what you see, random access memory, motherboard, keyboard, these are the hardware. Kernel is software implementation which uses your hardware to execute the programs. I don't have any experience in the Linux. Can you please operate in MS? What is MS? Yeah, you are using Ubuntu is exactly. I mean, Linux is the general term, and to the Linux there are so many distributions like Kali Linux, Ubuntu, several versions of Ubuntu and all. So the next question is of Nidhi: what libraries does Linux provide, and why do we need Linux as an operating system and not other OS for this genomic study? Definitely, if you are going to use some it's this is the question which I always take. Yes, you could do into the Windows. Windows itself has its own command line interface, but that is quite tough than the Linux thing. So all the CS guys usually do the command line interface or the Windows, but Windows is I prefer Windows, a more GUI kind of thing. It has a best graphical interface, but the command line is quite typical, quite tough for us like a biological guy. But it is very easy for the Linux guy. And if you are going to use only few packages which comes with its own GUI, then the Windows is fine enough. But if you are going to use the command line interface of of executing anything uh, without understanding Linux, it will be very tough. I don't know anyone who is doing the bioinformatics, hardcore bioinformatics to some more extent level. They are not using the Linux. So Linux is a core skill. If you want to switch to the bioinformatics field, it's a core skill you need. No, installing Linux is not going to affect your documents on the window. The best thing to do genomic analysis, having a WSL or VM. I think WSL is enough. WSL is enough to do your genomic analysis. But it also depends on the genomic analysis, how much big data you are going to use it, and what is the basic requirement. You must have at least 16 GB of RAM. If you are having less than, there are some softwares which require more than 12 GB RAM, like Bismarck and Aligner Map and other things. So if you have 16 GB RAM, just install WSL. It's enough. I used to do that onto my laptop, which is just 16 GB of RAM. Yeah, those who have Windows 11 does not need to install virtual machine, but they have to give permission for the WSL and install that thing. So, okay, a lot of same questions are going again. So now I'll tell you how to go for that. So as I said that if you are having the Mac operating system, no, 12 GB RAM is enough to use the Linux. Someone has asked me, is it enough to use the genomic studies? So that 16 GB RAM, what I've said for the genomic studies, how it also depends how much data they are going to use. Let's suppose that if someone is willing to align his sequence on the whole human genome with Bismarck aligner. So this software Bismarck aligner needs that your computer must have a 12 GB RAM. So that is defined into that particular case. It doesn't mean that 8 GB RAM guys cannot do that. Definitely, you could do that if you are going to do with the bacterial genome, or there are some alternate softwares which you should use which require less hardware. So it was answered for one particular context, one for particular guys. Yes, for analysis 16 GB RAM is enough. Okay, so we are out of focusing from our portion. So now I'm coming to how to install that. So there have been three kind of users. As I said that if you are a Mac user, so the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes will be boring for them. You don't have to do anything. You just have to search into on the Mac. I cannot show you because I don't have now. So you just have to search terminal, and when you type terminal, a terminal app will be open. So that's so there is a question, please. Someone has raised the hand. I'm going to answer after the session. I cannot take audios right now. So you just have to open the terminal, and the terminal you will have the access of all the Linux command. So another thing is that, as I said, that Mac is using most of the Linux command thing. 99.9% commands are same. Just few commands are different. So 99% of the Linux and Mac commands are same. So you have to do that. You don't have to install anything. You have already everything with you. So you just have to open the terminal, and from the terminal you could do all the Linux command practice. And for another guys who are having Windows prior version of Windows 10, that I mean to say Windows 8, 7 or XP, so they have to install a virtual machine. So I'm not going to demonstrate the virtual machine. Initially I used to do that. There are few lectures which is available on the YouTube where I have demonstrated everything on the Ubuntu, but it takes a lot of time, and it slows my system. It slows my system when I install Ubuntu and give RAM to that. So what I'm going to do, I have taken the screenshot of each step and I'll explain it for a few minutes, and you will get this PPT also. So definitely, if you are having Windows 10 or if you want to see that, you could do it. I hope my PPT is visible. So what you have to do, you have to download an Ubuntu image. Okay, from ubuntu.com you have to go. This is the link. I have pasted every link and the screenshot. So you have to go on to that and you are going to download Ubuntu image. So there are multiple options, but you want to do it for your desktop or your laptop. So you have to download this and just make sure that where you are saving it, whether on your desktop or on your DE, whatever drive. So this is just the image. This is just the image file. So your image file, Ubuntu image file is downloaded, and now you have to install your virtual box. That is a virtual machine software. So this virtual box is one example of virtual machine. There are some others virtual machine also. But virtual box is good enough to use, so I have taken this virtual box. So this is one example of virtual machine. So you just go on to this link and you install the virtual box machine. When you install it, that definitely when you download it, and it's executable file, you just execute that. It will ask for some installation step, and definitely we don't read all those points. We just press next, and it has been installed. So when it has been installed, you are all set to run the virtual box. And when you will learn the virtual box, so it's a kind of a I don't have that image right now, but when you install the virtual box, it will be open like that. Okay, so this Oracle VM virtual box manager has been installed. So that is actually a virtual machine. As I said, that you could see the virtual machine, but you cannot touch it. So this is your guest machine onto your host machine. This looks like that. So as you see, this is your virtual machine, but it is not having any operating system within it. So now we are going to install the operating system what we have already. We already have a Ubuntu image. So now you are going to make a new virtual machine into that. So I mean, you are going to make a new operating system into that. So what you will do, you will create a virtual machine name and operating system. So whatever name, so we are going to install the Ubuntu. So we'll put Ubuntu LTS. So this is the folder. This will automatically take, and this Ubuntu is a kind of a Linux type, so it automatically takes Linux. Otherwise, if not liking, it's a drop down option. You should take it, and then it will ask whether it's a 32-bit or 64-bit. Obviously, you have downloaded from the link. You know that it's 32 or 64, whatever you have downloaded. Most probably, you will download the 64-bit. You just have to put the 64-bit, and most of the time, it automatically take it. And then you have to press Linux, and then you have to allocate what the memory size it needs. Okay, so the recommended memory is 1 GB. I mean, 1 GB is enough to run it. But if you having 16 GB or something, you could go for the 2 GB or 4 GB, whatever you want. But yeah, whatever you are going to give this memory, this is only going to use it. Let's suppose that if I have given my virtual machine only 1 GB, so I cannot use those softwares which required more than that. So it will be tough to have the genomic study if with the 1 GB configuration. It will be easy for doing a lot of stuff, but not for this genomic study. So you have to, you have to be concerned how much you want. So it depends on your requirement. If you have a 16 GB, you could easily go and split for 40 to 50%. And then you select how much your hard disk it will use, and then just recreate it. Okay, it's an okay. Then you have to give this next option, and you see that it has been already installed. So I have given this Ubuntu LTS that has been already installed. So what you have to do, you have to press it. It's powered off, and it's going to start up the disk. That's all set. Okay, so this is all about having Ubuntu in the virtual machine. Now that has been done. So all the Mac guys, I have said, if you have prior version, I believe just 1% population must have Windows 8 or Windows 7. So if you can do it. And another thing is that let's suppose that if you have a PC, very few people have been like that, but if they have been having the Ubuntu as a main operating system, that means they are a pure band competition guy. So that's also mean that okay, you have a host machine and you have a Ubuntu as an operating system. So the other way is also possible. You just install a virtual machine for your Ubuntu, and into the virtual machine you could install the Windows. So the other option is also, I mean, vice versa is also available. So how much space we will need during this workshop? So if you are going to install with the virtual machine, I think 4 GB is required. But if you are having Windows 10, you don't have to worry of that. It will automatically consider it. Now, the next thing is that if you have Windows 10 or the prior version, and I believe Windows 10 and the updated version, that means Windows 11 also, you don't have to worry of all these memory thing. If you have 8 GB RAM, so I think if I don't know who is going to take the RNA-seq, but if they are not going to use the Bismarck aligner, if they are going to use some other aligner, 8 GB is enough. Only the Bismarck required more than 12 GB. So and other BS Bolt and other software, they are enough for the 8 GB. It depends on the software what they are taking. So if you have 8 GB RAM system, you don't have to worry. Okay, don't use that Bismarck. There are substitution. There are some other software. You just have to do a little bit of research and shift to some other software which required less hardware requirement. Although the alignment efficiency will be little compact, I mean little less, but it's enough for your task. And okay, that's now coming to Windows 10. What you have to do, first let me share my screen. Let's closing all this stuff. Okay. So I just shared my screen. So the one thing what you have to do is you must have a Windows logo key on your keyboard, a key which has the Windows flag, and you have to press Windows logo key plus R. I mean, you have to press it simultaneously, Windows logo key plus R, and then type WinWord. So I'm just going to I'll paste it into the chat box also. So what you have to do, you have to press Windows logo key plus R. So this pop-up will open, and then you have to type WinWord. So this is Windows version. So, and when you will type it, you will know what Windows you are using. This I am taking it like that because last time I encountered a guy who were forced to do, who was doing it for virtual machine because he didn't know what Windows version he is having. That's why I'm just telling, okay, if you don't know what version you are using, you could know by that. And in the Windows version also, there is a limitation. I mean, Windows 10 has also, if you have a prior version. So just focus on this build. So my build is 19044, although it's little old. But if you are having this build as 19041, this is the least version required at least. So before that, it's not going to work. So 19041 or higher is good enough. So I believe most of the people have the higher one, higher than the 41, because my Windows is itself is a 5-year-old. So 19041, if you have, it's fine. If you don't have, then you have to go with a virtual machine option. Okay, that's for checking your requirement whether you are good enough or not. So the pre-requirement is that you must have what I'm talking about right now for this Windows version 2004 and higher. Higher means whenever I say higher, please don't be confused with the Windows 11 guys. You guys are higher. Windows 10 version 2000 higher. Yeah, that's obviously 22,000 is higher than that, and the build is 19041 and higher. You just have to compare this number. whether it is more than that or not. If it is less than that, then you have to switch to the virtual machine option. If it's more than that, it's fine. 19041 is more than that. Like mine is just 19044, a little higher than that. So you are all set to go. And then there are 2 or 3 options how you could install it. One option is through the GUI and another option is through WSL. So first I'll go with the GUI option. So what you have to do, you just have to and type turn Windows feature on or off into your search box, into your search icon. You just have to type this. So this control panel will be opened up. So you see that this option has been opened up, and into this, what you have to scroll for 3 options. One is the main option. This you see here, Windows subsystem for Linux. That is the main option. That means they have given this module. You have to check it. Windows subsystem for Linux. If it's already checked it, I'll say don't uncheck it. Otherwise, you have to restart your system. So you just have to take it or check it, and then there is another option as yeah, virtual machine platform. So you have to check it also, virtual machine platform and this Windows subsystem for Linux. These 2 are the options which you have to check it. But after each workshop, I get a lot of query where there people say that, oh, I am encountering some error and this. So I don't know what the other setting they have, but they have to check this Hyper-V function also. This Hyper-V. So this, don't be confused with the Hyper-V. This is not available to all the users. So some participant may not be showing this Hyper-V option. Some may not be showing it. So it's not the essential part, but with some guys, they have some issue while installing that. It may be due to dissection with other settings they have, because I don't know what the other setting they have. But whenever I ask them to check this Hyper-V and do the things repeatedly, they are successfully able to install it. So that's why I'm saying, although it's not the essential, you could see in my system only this Windows subsystem for Linux and virtual machine platform, which is the most essential thing. You have to check it. But for some guys, for some queries, I have to ask them to check the Hyper-V, and they do it, and then they are successfully install it. So if the Hyper-V option is available to you, you could check it. If it's not available, it's fine. And then you have to check all these 3 and then press OK. And the next task is that you have to now whatever the settings you have changed, it should come into the picture. So you have to reboot your system. You have to restart your system. So you may done it later on. So you after checking all these 3, you have to restart your system and then just go to the Microsoft Store. Okay, I will repeat. Don't worry, I will repeat. So what I have said that you just have to type turn Windows feature on or off. So this control panel will be open. This turn Windows feature on or off. Or you could go from the setting to app and features. From the app and features, you have to do the turn on and feature off, or directly type into the search option turn on or off feature. So when this has been opened up, turn Windows feature on or off, you will get the option. You have to check it and press OK and reboot your system. Now, now we are onto the Microsoft Store. Microsoft Store is same as the Play Store of your Android mobile. So from here, you have to install some apps of Ubuntu apps. So I'll go with the Ubuntu, but just for showing you the Linux, how many they have. So each time they come up with some new apps. So once you press this Linux, you will see a lot of apps are available, like Kali Linux, Oracle Linux, and Ubuntu 18.04, Ubuntu 20.04. All this is available. So you could install any of that. So there are some this Penguin Enterprises that is not free level, that is $94. This Penguin is a good third party of app. So you could install any of these, but I'll suggest. I mean, these are all the Linux based app. So, but I'll suggest you to go with the Ubuntu, but it's not essential what I'm saying. But I'll suggest you, but you could install any other. So in the Ubuntu, you will see a many like 18.04, 20.04, and 22.04. So you have to get one. So go with the 20.04 or the 22.04 and get it. So you will have Ubuntu app installed. You just have to install it. From here, you have to get it. So you will install it. I already have one version. I don't remember which version, but I have that. Okay. So now you are all set to go. So first you have what you have done. You have given uh, permission to your system to have this subsystem for the Linux. I mean, the name itself is that in the window you are having a subsystem for Linux, WSL. You have given that. You just reboot your system. After that, you have to install one app. Ubuntu, you have installed it. And when you will see this, so okay, I have this Ubuntu 20.04 on Windows when I'm running it. So there are two options, run as administrator or open. So if you have installed onto your administrator login, it's fine. It will automatically take it that. So once you will open the app for the first time, so it may not look like it. You may have a black uh, a background. The basic background, the by default background is that I think black. Yeah, but I have changed it for myself. So you will have the black background, and when you are doing it for the first time, so it will ask you press any key to continue. So you have to press that key, and then it will ask to set up your username and password. Make sure to write down it somewhere, please. Each time I get a query, sir, I forget my password. How to get it? So it's not easy to get that. So that may be the lacking thing. Although it's possible to get your password and whatever the data you have, but it's very tough, and it differ from version to version. It differ from version to version. So and don't make it chaos for the future thing. Just write down somewhere whatever your username is and password is. And another thing is that username, I don't know what's the reason behind that, but make sure to write down your username with caps lock off. I mean the small letters. And when you are typing your password, it's very surprising that you will not see anything onto your screen. But whatever the keys you are typing, it is taking as a password. You will not see anything. Generally, what happens whenever we type some password, we see some asterisk sign onto the screen. So we know that okay, let's suppose that I have typed Salman as a password. So when I type S, I'll see one star, then A, second star, L, third star. But here you will not see anything. So you will be surprised, oh, my password is not taking. There is some issue with my app. No, it's already taking. It's not visible onto that. So whatever you are pressing, it will take. Just type enter, and then it will again ask you to retype your password. So don't be confused with this thing. It happens in the each conference, the each workshop. People say that okay, it is not taking, but it's taking. And then username and password has been set. You are all set to go. So this is how your Windows subsystem for Linux is working, and you could use it from anywhere. So that's all about having WSL into your system. So that I have given you the easiest way to install it is the GUI. Another way, what I have said that I'll tell you the another way. So is going through the command prompt. So this is the command prompt of Windows, not the Linux. So what I have to do, you have to type WSL. Sorry, why it's not taking. So what you have to do, you have to do WSL install, and you have to press it, so it will automatically install it. Or if you want to see this, so this is command prompt of this help. Okay, it has been installed, and you have to set your version and other things, so you could see your version what you have. I mean, you have to install with this WSL install. What is happening? Oh, I just have changed this one. So what has happened that just few days ago I have uninstalled this from my command prompt. But if you are going to do that, you could do from here also. I'm not going to do it because it will take time. You just go with the GUI interface and you could easily set it that. And once you will have this Ubuntu app, you are all set to go. Like I am here, so now I could see whatever command I want to type and other things. So you could see I'm able to use it, whatever we want. So this is required for you to have the next session. So on the next session, we'll practice it here. And most probably when Saurabh will talk about having the data and other things. So I believe that he will talk about downloading the data through the Linux version or through the command line. So you will require to do that. So you will require to install. I mean, you will require to download the data from the command line. So you need this Ubuntu app to do the things. Or if you have the prior version, you have to install the Ubuntu. That's all. Okay, that's all from my side. If there is still some, can you please type the steps how to set it? Mine is one I cannot manage to do it. I think I have talked very slowly, but still you are not able to do it. So there is no relevant question, I think. No, this WSL is not installed. I have uninstalled it. You would see that it's not available in. Okay, so there are three questions I got. One is that someone has asked that it is in MacBook you have to install the Linux. No, as I said that MacBook itself has the Linux interface. I mean it has both the Windows as well as, that's my definition, that it has the most advantageous thing of Windows as well as Linux. The Linux command line is available to the MacBook. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to open the terminal. Through the terminal, it automatically use this Linux interface or the Linux command line prompt, it automatically use it. So whatever the command are there, whatever the software you are going to install for the command line, everything is available into that. You just have to do it through the terminal. And I told you how to reach to the terminal. So the Mac guys don't have to install anything. So they have already everything with them. And another thing is someone has asked me to explain the guest machine. So guest machine, as I said, that what the virtual machine thing, the virtual box app, what I have shown you is the guest machine that you install onto your host machine. And then what is the GUI interface? So GUI interface is graphical user interface. I mean, like what I have demonstrated you through the turn windows on or off, and then installing the app. So this I have explained you through the GUI, because you see, okay, I'm just checking it. This is the graphical interface. Another way is command line interface, is that when you just type some commands and it does it for you. That is a command line interface. Let's suppose, let me explain to you in a very easy way. Maybe I could explain it. So let's suppose that I am here and I just want to switch to, okay, so you could see my Ubuntu app. So what I'm doing is that, so you could see that now I have, so you could see that I have moved to some folder where I have these FASTA files. Okay, I have some folders, and in each folder, this is the FASTA. So I moved here. Okay, so this I have done with the command line prompt. Now the GUI prompt is that, okay, I'll go to this PC option, then I'll go to this F folder, then in the F folder, I am going to this methylation project, I'm going to this data, FASTA queue. Okay, they're the same thing. So this is the GUI interface, what I have done here. This is GUI interface, what I have done here is the command line interface. So it's easy to copy thing, other things, it's a faster thing, it's a fast. If I copy some content from here, like the traditional way, and if I copy something from here, a big file of, let's suppose 2 GB, I mean one, sometimes it's even 10 GB files are there. So if I'll copy it, you will see this will be faster than this GUI phase. I mean, or if you want to install something, if you want to install, let's suppose a software. So if you are doing it from the GUI, you have to press yes, 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 and here it's just a simple command. You just press the command and it will do for automatically. So that's the difference between the graphical interface and the command line interface. Any other question? So you can do in both ways for analysis. Definitely not. Definitely not. Let's suppose that if you are going to align your genome, you are going to use the Bismarck. So Bismarck doesn't come with the graphical interface. You have to run the commands. So you cannot do that. Let's suppose that you have to do the quality control from your raw data. So I don't exactly remember. I may be wrong, but what I remember is that you are going to use this fast QC tool. So fast QC, I don't exactly remember, but I think it's also not coming with the graphical interface. So you have to run the command line, and then suppose that you are going to do analysis for RNA sequencing and methylation sequencing. I don't have much experience into the RNA, but I used to do the methylation sequencing. So let's suppose I'm going to use BS Bolt software. So that is bisulfite alignment and analysis software. So it doesn't come with the GUI. I have to use the command line. I have to type all the commands. Then it will first do the quality control of my raw samples. It will trim it. It will cut adapt it. It will remove the adapter. Then it will align it with the reference genome, whether it's coming from the mouse sample or the human. It will align it. Then I will extract the methylation information and all that. So this BS Bolt doesn't come with the GUI. So you have to do it. So most of the software, genomic software, doesn't come with the GUI. So you have to do it from the command line, because it's not few MBs files. All the files you will get in GBs. So you have to do from the command line. I heard about a terminal called MobaXtrum where it's translocating of the file is easier. Is it okay to use that? Yes, MobaXtrum, WinSCP, Putty. These are the terminals you could do. You could use it. MobaXtrum is also. So what I think MobaXtrum is not. Yes, you could use it. Yeah, it's fine. You could use it. And I think it's more for when you are some accounts onto server and other thing, you want to use it from that, then we use it. Let's suppose I'll show you here. I have this putty version, so it's similar to the MobaXtrum, and you have to type your host name. So I'm typing my host name of the institution, but I cannot access it because I'm sitting at my home. I cannot access it. So you have to type it like that, and you open it because it cannot open it because I'm not in the campus. They have the restriction. So this is how you this is the role for MobaXtrum and Putty. You could use it. How can I interact with WSL Ubuntu with Windows folder? So if you have a WSL2, I just have changed my WSL to the WSL1. So the command is that so you just have to type a command explorer.exe and you could open the folder here. So what I have given here, I have given the command line here. And now you could see that it has been opened. So it will do both the things. Let's suppose I'm just in the whole home folder. So my present working directory is this. And if I type this explorer.exe, so it will open it. So you could see here where my WSL is. So in the network, in the WSL, this Ubuntu 20.04 is there, and then you have home and Salman. So whatever I have whatever the projects I have, it is there. Okay, these things we will talk tomorrow because it will be tough for the other guys who are in the beginning. Six sample to own laptop. I think it's enough. Aksha P. You have enough hardware to do the things. You could do it on your own laptop. That's fine. Okay, that's. I think I have answered. Sir, alternative to 1 to 20.0 or 4. You could go with the power version 18.4, or you, if you are not interested in Ubuntu, you could do the Kali Linux and other things. I'm not the Kali Linux, I've not used the Debian and other things. I have used the Ubuntu, so I have given that example, but you could explore other options also. Whatever is whatever distribution is compatible and is available through the Microsoft App Store. That's why I have said to go through the App Store, or you have to do it from the command line. In the command line you have to set wsl minus install minus g, so you will see that what distribution is available for you, so you could only use that. RSA analysis 8 GB RAM. Yes, because you could do it, but there will be some there will be some issue. Like if you are going to use the Bismarck aligner, so Bismarck directly says that it requires at least 12 GB. So you could do it for smaller genome if you have uh, bacterial RNA-seq and other things. I mean, if you have smaller organism, you could do it, but if you are going to do on the human sample, it will be tough. With the 8 GB RAM, it will be tough for the human sample with this mark. But I guess BS Bold will do it. I mean, for the RNA-seq, the softwares are different. I don't remember because I don't do that RNA-seq thing. But there are some aligner where you will face some difficulty, but there are alternatives available, so you could do it. It will be more answerable to the guy who will tell you about the RNS thing. But yeah, you could do with the 8 GB, but you will encounter some difficulty, so you have to, you know, split your data into 2 and 3 and then rejoin other things. Okay, I think I have answered almost all the questions. I'm still getting another message when trying to run the Ubuntu software. I don't know that. You must be missing something. Just go with the video again when you will get it and try to do it again. If you encounter any error, you could mail me. But please, it's my humble request. Please mail your query after you try. Don't shoot out the mail without trying. I'll always get 20 to 25 mails after each workshop. And there are guys who didn't try and just shoot it to me. When I do it with the Zoom, it's not possible. After 1 hour session, I do the Zoom with individual guys. And I always do with 5 to 10 guys. Okay, so I think these are the questions for the next session. Will you do the some alignment analysis and other things? I don't know the exact answer. That will depend on the speaker. So that's all from my side. There is one hand who was continuously raising the hand. I asked him that he will have to ask to the last, so he could have asked the query, Abu Huraira and whatever the name was. So he could mute themselves. It's my humble request from the organizer. Just give the permission to mute them, and if they have any relevant query, they could ask 2 to 3 questions. I'll take.
So
Because we are running.
they have given liberty to unmute themselves.
Okay. So Abu Huraira, who has raised the hand, or please raise your hand. Then I'll ask the name, and then you could ask your query. In the last workshop on the NGS, you promised you are going to send the script for the WGBS, which you did not send to us.
We have
So
sent. We have sent. Kindly check session number 19 folder. 19 and 20. Check both.
I think they don't have any other query.
So
Yeah.
Abu, if you have any question, you can ask.
Yes, please ask.
So So there is one question. Repeat how to check the Windows feature and installing the Ubuntu, please.
Repeat on how to check the Windows feature and installing Ubuntu. Oh. So what you
is it available
what
in
you have,
video?
it's available on the video. What I am talking about for past 20 minutes the same. So you have to search on the in the search option. You have to go to the turn Windows feature on or off. You'll get a dialog box. You have to check WSL. You have to check virtual machine platform. Then you have to reboot the thing. You have to restart the thing. Then go to the Microsoft App Store. Install any distribution what you like. I'll go with the Ubuntu. Just go with the Ubuntu 20th version or 22 version. Just go with the 20th version. And once you will open the Ubuntu app, from the search option you have to type the Ubuntu app. It will come. You just have to open up. It will first time it will ask you to press any key to continue. Then it will ask you to set up your username and password. You just have to set up it, write it down somewhere, and you are all set to go.
So there is one question. Could you please repeat how to open the network from the CMD? Question.
How to open the
network from CMD.
Could you please repeat how to open the network from the explorer.exe? Yeah, you have. He has also answered the question explorer.exe. The same command, yes. You already answered that explorer.exe. And then this stop. That means the present folder. I have also typed the command into the chat box. So this is how you will open your folder from Ubuntu.
So thanks, Dr. Salman, for today's session. We are already running over time. So thank you. And we will share the video recording along with PowerPoint presentation within 2 hours. So please check the drive link for video recording and PowerPoint presentation. Still, if your query remain unaddressed during this presentation, Dr. Salman will be again with us, and you can also mail after watching the video to the Salman if you have any problem. So
and yes, someone asked that there will be sessions of hands-on. Yeah, my both next session are purely hands-on. But before that, try to have this Linux into you. Otherwise, it will be not useful for you. Because in my next session, we will do simultaneously. Whatever I will type, you have to type it. We will do together. And if there will be some encounter, the results are different from us, then we'll take it. Hurera has raised again his hand, so I'll give him chance to ask the question. Please, Abu Hurera, ask your question.
So, why did you have chosen the field of bioinformatics? What features do you think?
I mean, come on, yeah. This is not the exact answer you should ask on this platform. This is irrelevant, please. Okay.
So can I end the session, Dr. Salman?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Thanks, all of you. We'll